I promised my fellow targeted individuals, my fellow human beings, we're not targeted individuals, just because some Nazis say the words. They forced my lips together, forcing Gavin's saliva between them. I will show you some of these recorders that I've mentioned before. I have 2 on charge at the moment. The full indicator there on the top is a battery indicator showing that it's a full, the batteries are fully charged and it's okay, working okay. The red light indicates it's recording at the time. It's got a hold switch on the side. If I push it up, it's already up. Then it can't be knocked out of that mode. It'll keep recording no matter what I push or shove it. That's a pretty decent property or quality or function to have on a recorder when you want to use it to walk around with them in your pockets and recording, just to simply get on with your day. That one's on lock at the moment. When you see that, that's in that hold mode, that similar hold mode as well. That's a 512 megabyte recorder. It was one of my first. It is my first digital recorder. This is a 30 gigabyte Targa. So as a recorder, voice recorder, it's going to last me a long time. It's charging at the moment, as I say. Yeah, it's still charging. I don't know that the camera's going to catch it. As indicated by the that's a 2 gigabyte. It's my second recorder I bought, digital wise. Second type of recorder. At first I had 2 of these. No, it isn't. Digital was it, but I had 2 analogs at first. And at half speed they lasted, each tape lasted 1 hour. An appropriate use of them. An appropriate use of them is in the public domain. If you're in your own home, if you're walking along the path, if you're in your car, this is where you can use them. If that doesn't sound to you, if you don't need to do that, that's fine, that's fine. But if you're in a position, as I have been since childhood, where you could be walking along, going to the shop, and total strangers, your neighbours, people you know very well, or total strangers, will simply lay into you, beating you, punching and kicking you, shouting just how much they hate you, and giving you the impression from what they're shouting that if they see you again they're going to kill you. It was really, how do you describe? You can't describe that. We all know at some point what it's like to be beaten up, don't we? It's incredibly. You imagine have that threat over you for any time you set foot outside the door. From early childhood, 6 or 7 years old. I was first assaulted as a targeted individual when I was 3 years old, when I first knew that there's something not wrong, when I first knew very blatantly, obviously, not something here and there was telling me, but it was absolutely obviously plain from what they were making their presence felt. But it wasn't until that later time of 6 years old, 5 or 6 years old, that I was finding myself physically assaulted. It's been 5 years now since I've actually been physically assaulted, and it's been 5 years since I've used them. Why is that happening? Because it's evidence, isn't it? Quite frankly, it's evidence. We can now use recorders. If you feel threatened, if you've got reason to believe you're in danger, or your property or your person is under threat, or somebody has that kind of intention towards you or your property, then you have the legal right to record, even if you're just recording anyway. We have camcorders. We have these things. Everybody has MP3s and MP4s. We can now quite legitimately record almost anything at any time. But an appropriate use would mean we're setting a good example. The difference it makes is the difference between being sat at home. This is the difference it made to me. And they used that circumstance to commit a multitude of assaults on my body and my mind, because they focused those attacks that I'd been through my mind almost constantly, over many months each time. If I'd been assaulted, I would go home, and it's on my mind at that point. My head is I'm just dazed, and I was walking along, and this thought of what had just happened would absolutely fill my mind, and it'd be like an autopilot somehow that you're getting back home while they're absolutely crapping this into your mind, what they've just done to you and to that other person. It's very much, I'm afraid, the probability, at least, that some of them are given quite a decent reward for what they've done. They do volunteer for it, some of them, and there are others who are targeted individuals or classed as targeted individuals as we are, and they too are used in that way. What you will usually find is that they're big. I'm not by any means a big man, about 5'6", 9 stone, 9.5 stone at my heaviest at times. I've never gone out of my way to cause trouble to anyone, and I don't know what a child of 5 years old has ever done to deserve being assaulted, being beaten in a public area and kicked and punched to the ground, while I was on my way to go get a Cadbury's cream egg in the shopping. What they do with that is they tear your life apart, because they use these weapons to cause a constant state of fear, so you're too scared of going outside that door. They put you through so much stress. They use it to induce the experience of the constant assault of your body and your mind with stress. They also, as time goes on, they're able, because of that stress, to include depression. They can include that into the number of symptoms, and they can call it a symptom, and they can get it on the doctor's diagnosis,